Hey guys, plenty coming up on the show today. Delly joins us and he is officially still in the mix for Paris.
And an exclusive with Boomers coach Brian Goorjian and Project Paris, Ben Simmons.
I'll give you a reason to get on the sauce and the person you must trade in this week for SuperCoach.
And I'm talking NBA with Derek Rucker and his love fest for James Harden. Has he finally given up on him? Let's get into it.
Let's go.
This is the Basketball Show with Shane the Hammer Heel. What they gonna say next?
Yes, hello and welcome. You're watching The Basketball Show, all thanks to CODE Sports, Boost Mobile and the Throwback Store. I'm Jo Healy, great to be back with you all. Can't wait to get stuck in. The man next to me needs no introduction. Shane the Hammer Heel, how are you?
So good to have you back, Jojo.
I'm excited to be
ready
back.
To go.
Fresh off the plane, quite literally.
Great effort too. Straight off the plane this morning, so big thanks to you. Let's go.
Let's go. Big show. Let's get straight into our starting five. The Perth Wildcats. Oh. There's trouble in paradise at the moment, but the organisation have come out in support of John Rillie. What are you seeing with this whole situation?
Well, I like the fact that the ownership's come out and supported him. The fans have had it good for a long time. Hasn't been great the last 3 years, so they're booing everybody, you know, spoiled as they have been over the last 35 years. You know, the person that has really got off scot-free in this is Danny Mills. Like, everyone wants to boo John Rillie and say get rid of him, but Danny Mills has been there for the 3 years after making the finals for 33 odd years or something. Mm-hmm. He's been in charge. He's employed Scott Morrison. He's employed John Rillie. He's put together this team. What made Perth Wildcats great for so long is they had a core group of players they built with every year, with Damien Martin and these guys and Redditch and all these guys. They built with a core. Right now, I feel like he's built a fantasy team. There are a whole lot of good, talented players that can't show that they even play together, don't play defence. It looks like a mess.
There's a fair bit going on behind the scenes as well, players responding to fans' DMs and things like that. So it's not pretty at the moment. A big doubleheader weekend for them.
Bryce Cotton's wife too. That's not pretty.
The whole situation is ugly at the moment.
Because obviously she's hearing things that Bryce has said at home. It's gone directly against everything he said where he took responsibility. It's messy, it's not good. You wouldn't want your wife making comments because it did not tell a good story for John Rillie in the club.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. All right, shout out to Jack White. An interesting couple of weeks for him, obviously waived by OKC, but then picked up #1 in the G League draft. He's heading out west to play for the Lakers G League affiliate. So a really positive sort of situation for him moving forward now. I guess we're just talking about the fact that maybe he could be playing elsewhere. He could have picked up a bag, say, in Europe, but he's opted to stay close to the NBA.
Well, he would only make this move if his agent has the feedback that he's close. He's waiting for an injury, he's waiting for something to be able to come forward, and he's right under their noses being able to play some great basketball. We know what he's capable of. I think he's an NBA player. It's about being there at the right time. He could have made a lot of money in Europe, but obviously he's chosen to play the long game, and he's right there, and I think he'll be in the NBA before the end of the season.
Best of luck to him. Let's hope so. A little closer to home with Melbourne United, Luke Travers and Tanner Krebs are settling in quite nicely there.
See, United are completely opposite than the Perth Wildcats. The United have gone for culture guys, and they've been able to wrestle Travers away. Travers has said, this is a basket case. This is where I've grown up. This is the team that I always wanted to play for and everything else. But I'm not going to get better. I'm not going to win here. I'm going to go to Dean Vickerman. I'm going to play for United, who's got a culture, who attracts the right things, has the right processes on the day-to-day. And what they've done, they've been able to get somebody like Krebs that was okay. He's been all right, but I think he's the sort of kid that if he's in the wrong system and can get led down the wrong track, isn't doing the right things on a day-to-day, he's not going to get better and contribute. He's been so valuable. Both those guys play such a valuable role, and when you've got Illy and Daly and these guys, and then some guys who can put the ball in the hole as well, it equals wins, and it equals an opportunity to win a championship. Those two have been instrumental.
Well, scary prospect potentially. They haven't actually played a game with their full roster this season, so still more to come from Melbourne United. The Brisbane Bullets, they've won their last two on the trot without Aaron Baines. Are they legit? They're up to 6. They're in the play-in positions.
You can't say they're not legit because they've been impressive. They've been able to win some good games. Whenever you go away and beat the Perth Wildcats on the road, even though Perth hadn't been playing well, come home and beat Tasmania, who had been in really good form as well, you think that they're playing a lot better basketball than they have over the last 5 years, that's for sure. And you look at Nathan Sobey in this system under Justin Schul, he's playing with great confidence, he's been aggressive, he's taking much better shots and leading that team. I'm not sure they're legit like some of the other teams come the end of the season. But they're certainly improved, and they're a danger team that people will respect when they're going to play in Brisbane, or anytime they're playing against them. They're playing well.
They have Phoenix tomorrow night to kick off Indigenous round as well. And tonight, the Signet WNBL tips off. Adelaide Lightning against the Melbourne Boomers. Who are you most looking forward to? Who's maybe the sleeper team that you've got for this season?
I mean, I think everybody's tipping the big money teams. You know, Townsville are going to be great again. Sydney's recruited well, both Melbourne teams. They've spent a bucket load of money. Adelaide's a team that's probably just sneaking under the radar. I think Nat Hurst has done a great job. Watch out for Izzy Bourne. I think she'll be fantastic. Willoughby there as well. They're going to be deep. And Perth, they're going to be sneaky as well. Obviously with Annalee Maley there. I love their point guard. She's fantastic. She is lightning quick. So she's going to be really fun to watch as well. So, no, well done. And good luck to all the ladies about to tip off.
Exactly right. Cannot wait for that. As we said, that tips off tonight and then the round continues on Friday. So looking forward to it. Time for Hoops Highlights now. Care of Boost Mobile. We're starting in Europe. Jaron Blossomgame. I mean, he just airballed that 3.
Oh my. But what a way to make up for it. Airball a 3 and then dunk it home like that.
Number 4, a little closer to home. Bryce Cotton to Keanu Pinder. How is this alley-oop?
No booze for this one, Joe. That's not just the play of the game, that's a play of the year for the Perth Wildcats.
They are going to need plenty more where that came from if they're going to have any chance of being there at the business end of the season. You were living under a rock this week if you did not see this from Steph Curry on Dylan Brooks. Gets him once, twice, 3 times, and then drills it.
Was Brooks drunk? Was he stumbling? He was. He's looking for a kebab.
Love the Home Alone celebration there. Number 2, Tyler Harvey for the Illawarra Hawks. He lifted the roof off of the Wynn Entertainment Centre with a winner against the Taipans.
Well, we've seen him do this before. He is money, especially when he's going left. And what a win for the Hawks.
Wouldn't expect anything less from him, unless maybe it was a, floater off of 1 foot from the logo, perhaps. One of the most clutch players in the league. And number 1 this week is Luca's dagger against the Nets. How good was this?
He is a freak. He is a freak. Some of the best players in the world now are all coming out of Europe, and this man just continually gets it done like he's practiced a million times.
Giving Nikola Jokic a run for his money here. The nonchalant nature of it. Just fling the rock up there and see what happens. That is your Hoops Highlights this week, all thanks to Boost Mobile. Well, he is an NBA champion, Olympic bronze medalist, and one of the stars for Melbourne United. Matthew Dellavedova joins us now. Delly, so great to have you on the basketball show now. Your team are 8-1 on the season. You've obviously missed a couple of weeks now with concussion. I mean, first of all, how are you feeling, and can we expect you back for your next game on Monday?
Yeah, no, I'm feeling great, thanks. Definitely looking forward to getting back out there. Trained yesterday, all good. So, feel great, ready to go. But it's been fun watching the boys get the job done, and they've been playing some great basketball.
Well, Delly, if I know you would have wanted to get back a little bit earlier because you would have gone through all of this before. But have you noticed the difference in the protocols and the way concussion's been taken a little bit more seriously? And do you think we should go in line with some of the other codes of mandatory time on the sideline?
I mean, the club did a great job, and we got great medical staff here, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to come back here is because they kind of got me going a couple of years ago. But I'm not too sure. Like, obviously AFL is a different sport, but it's more about your symptoms, how you're feeling. I bounced back pretty quick, so. I was feeling good and wanted to play on Sunday, but, they have my best interest, so they just wanted. get a bit more practice in, which is probably more for the rest of the body than the head.
Well, we can't wait to see you back out there against Perth on Monday. You guys have obviously already beaten them once this season. A winning record at home. You're yet to lose a game there. What is working so well for you this season?
I mean, we have a deep team, but we really compete hard on the defensive end of the floor. And obviously we have great rim protection with Big A and Joe and Rob. And, the guards just try to, climb in and send them downhill to the big. So I think everyone's really buying in there. And it'll be good to have the full team for Monday.
You guys are title favourites, and obviously you're back here to try and help them win a championship. But if we take that out of the equation, what are your personal goals? You've already achieved everything. You've won NBA titles, as Joe said, and done everything individually. What are your goals over the next couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, obviously number one is to help Melbourne United win a championship. We lost in the semis when I played here 2 years ago, and definitely want to do better than that. Personally, biggest goal is make the Olympic team next year. So definitely working towards that. And then after the NBL season, see if I can get back on with the NBA team. So we'll see what happens.
I wanted to ask about a couple of your sort of Aussie teammates, I guess, that are over in the NBA that are just trying to find their feet with new teams. Patty Mills, Joe Ingles, Jock Landale, those kind of guys. For someone like yourself who has been in that position, who you've had a full roster spot, you've sort of been a little bit further down the bench, can you just describe maybe what is going through their minds, and I guess if you've got any advice for someone in that situation at the moment?
I mean, those three are all professionals, and they've been in a lot of different situations as well. So I'm sure they've got it under control. But I think it's it is different every team you go to, and every season, even at the same team, is a little bit different. So as those boys know, things can change pretty quick, and your role can change pretty quick as well. So they'll be great this season, I'm sure.
Delly, what about the Olympics next year? You've said you want to go there, and obviously the Boomers probably missed some of your experience and culture this year at the World Cup. Ben Simmons, what's going to take to be able to get him to play, and do you think he's a chance to play, and what would he add to the Boomers if he was able to get there?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing for him is, it looks like he's back healthy and enjoying his basketball, and that's the main thing. And, it's good to see him out there, attacking the rim, blocking shots, pushing the pace. So, obviously we'd all love to see him in a Boomers singlet, and, hope he has a great season, and after the season he's ready to go.
Yes, Matt Logue is here with us now for the Logue Down, thanks to CODE Sports. Matty, we've just had Delly on the show, who made his intentions pretty clear about wanting to be there in Paris with the Boomers next year. You can add a little bit more to it, though.
Yeah, definitely, guys. Big chat with Brian Goorjian, Boomers coach, and he has revealed that if Delly keeps playing the way that he has been prior to his concussion, he's there. He's there for the camp, and he'll go head-to-head, most likely with the likes of Dyson Daniels, obviously Chris Goulding, for a spot. Goorjian was really passionate and spoke about that cutting Delly for the World Cup was the toughest cut of his career. And he said, afterwards they had a conversation, and Delly said to him, mate, I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to prove you wrong. And Goorjian at that point said, well, I promise you that if you're playing well enough, I'll consider you. Your international career is not done yet. So,
any sense of whether Goorj regretted not taking him to the World Cup?
There was a sense in that he said one of the biggest weaknesses at the World Cup, Shane, was that defence wasn't as strong as previous years.
It was a weakness.
It was a weak. Well, it ended up being that case, particularly in that German game, and the Germans were undermanned, so that was disappointing. But I think you made a good point, Shane, from a cultural standpoint, it's Delly. He understands what it means to be a boomer, and I think he'll probably help some of those young guys. So watch this space. But Delly's back Monday. He'll be raring to go. Before that, he was shooting quite well, and I think he'll be right in the mix. And I don't know who you take. Like, do you take him over Chris, for example?
It's a tough one. I wouldn't want to be making that decision.
Certainly not. Still away from that, though. I don't know if you can make such a big call at this point. Speaking of the rest of the Boomers team, though, the new big man potentially in the system.
Yeah, well, obviously, Jock didn't go to the World Cup. Jock and Duop Reith, they're the two main guys for the future. But there's some guys in the NBL that are going well. You know, Isaac Humphries, potentially, if Froling was in the last camp. But Goorjian has definitively said that Rocco Sakari, young 7'3" teen, he's next in the pecking order, and he said that he thinks he can have a Giddy-like impact in his position as a big man. So
wow,
that's a massive shout.
Which is a massive shout for a young guy that, you know, next star in the NBL that's not playing, you know, big minutes, but when he's got on there, he's shown his willingness to.
Yeah, but
you know,
come on, Gorge. Like, Giddy's dominating in the NBA. Now, this young kid, he may be a superstar. Don't worry about that. But he's 17.
Yeah.
He's built like a stick. He's going to be. He's a project. Can. 5 years' time.
But in all
Not
seriousness,
next year.
and this is great, but in all seriousness, the Boomers, that's their downfall going forward is the big man depth. And
for the future.
Yeah, for the future, and that's what they need to do. They need to plan for the future. So is Rocco? When does he play? Like, you know, like Paris is too soon, but
no doubt that Gorge will want him in the system and try and give him that experience of international basketball. And big men take longer to develop than what guards do as well. So there's no doubt he's going to have a huge future. And when he gets to the NBA as well, that's going to help build him. But I don't think we're going to see him have too much of an impact in the next couple of years anyway.
Cannon potential being the operative words there. We also spoke to Delly about Ben Simmons. What is Gorge saying from that regard?
Yeah, it's interesting. Gorge expects him to be in Paris. Ben said that multiple times that he will be there, and Gorge is really keen. He's heard Andrew Bogut's comments on his podcast, and Bogues was a bit, you know, critical of how can you have Ben and Josh Giddey, ball dominant guys in the same team, and Gorge acknowledges it's a challenge, but he's up for it. He said this is his last chance. He won't coach again the Boomers after this. Is his last Olympics, and his parting gift is getting Ben Simmons to play for the Boomers. Now, he's had triple-double, or almost triple-double, in his last 2 games. I don't know what you guys think, but I think if you can get Ben in that, finally, I know you're laughing,
Mate,
but we've got to get him in there.
How could you not laugh? Mate, I just love the fact that you say, Gorge says, we think that we're going to get him for this. Like, mate, we've thought that we're going to have him for the last 10 years, and everyone gets excited, and then he gradually lets you down and says, oh, I've got something else, and I've got to work on my body, I've got to work on my mind, and I've got to get... It's like, mate, I'll believe it when I see it.
Hey, fingers crossed. You can only hope, right?
That's all you can do, Jack.
Maddie, thank you for that.
Oh, good.
Time now for Points Made. Let's bring in Derek Rucker, NBL pundit and former league MVP. D, great to see you. We're going to get straight to it. James Harden no longer in Philadelphia. He's heading over to the Clippers. Do you like it?
Hammer, I'm shocked at this. I just thought that Harden was cooked. I didn't think anybody was really going to show this much interest in him. And for the Clippers to give away that amount of draft choices and all those players, I'm stunned. I just don't think he's worth it.
Well, D, I'm stunned to finally hear you admit that Harden, who I call Harden because there is no D in Harden, that you're actually not with him because you've backed him all the way. You backed him at Houston. You backed him at OKC. You said he was going to be a revelation when he teamed up at the in New York, in New Jersey. And now you've got off the bandwagon. You thought he was going to be great also in Philly, and I've told you all along that he is not worth it. This is just fool's gold. I cannot believe that the Clippers were prepared to give all that up and that they think these 4 guys... Look, Westbrook finally is starting to play some great basketball. Now they bring in Harden. I don't know how that combination can work.
Well, I just think Harden's age now. He's not the same person he was 3 years ago. He played good basketball last year, but still, that's 12 months ago. I don't like the move for the Clippers. Good luck to him. And you can say goodbye to Joel Embiid, Philadelphia.
That is definitely one of the big things to come out of this, where Joel Embiid ends up. Most likely the New York Knicks. I know as a Miami fan, I'll take him down there as well. Moving on, Southeast Melbourne, a little closer to home. They are second on the table. Dee, I want to ask, are they legit contenders? And then conversely, the New Zealand Breakers, one of the favourites to start the season. They've got just one win behind them. Are they in trouble?
Well, Joe, I think Southeast Melbourne are legit. You know, last year they were sitting nicely high up in the top 4 until they got the injury bug. That franchise has been cursed, Hammer, with injuries. I hope it's not the case this year, because those 4 guys that they got, Brown, Cummings, Creek, Wood, they're the best top 4 that are going around, and I think they can make a real deep playoff run. New Zealand, big trouble. They're having troubles finding a quality import. Not sure they want to kick out a lot of money to fill that spot, only temporarily for Cheatham. 2 situations in deep contrast here.
Well, I told you before the season started, Dee, that Southeast Melbourne, this was going to be a year where they could seriously compete, and I've been really impressed with those 4 guys being able to play together. Cummins has been fantastic. I love that combination in the backcourt with Brown, who picks and chooses. Both are capable of being able to score, but they're also willing to be able to give the ball up, obviously with Big Sauce back in the middle, and we know what Creek does. But it's at the defensive end for me that they've really started to pick up under Mike Kelly. They've been impressive. They've played some good basketball, and I think they can seriously compete with anyone. I'm not saying they're going to win it, but I think there is as good a chance as anyone outside United to be able to win it. I'm not so worried about New Zealand. I think that it's a concern that they've got the injuries. They need to be able to find the right replacement, but I like the balance of what they've been able to put together. White hasn't had a great start to this season, but I just feel like that's going to start to come. We know he's a quality player, the way he played last year. They've got some good imports. I think guys like Finn Delaney are probably going to step up in the absence of Cheatham as well. They're well coached. I think if they can get through this next period, they'll be really good in the second half of the season.
Time to talk SuperCoach NBL. Nathan Stremple in the studio with us. Now, this is the part of the show where I get completely embarrassed because we're talking head-to-heads. Can you break it to me gently?
Well, Joe, it's lovely to have you back, but your time in the States hasn't helped your SuperCoach side very much, as you see on the screen there. Hammer gave it to you last week. The Jet Setter's not looking great. I had a good week against Derek Rucker, and here now to help everyone out with just some tips on how they can improve their side this week. The big question is, are you going to get sourced or not?
Mate, the thing for me, though, is you're only in here because you are on fire. You would have dialed in from home. We would have had you if you weren't.
Mate, that's a guarantee. I finished 20th in the entire world last week in SuperCoach. So guarantee if I do well, you'll see me in the studio. If you don't, I'll probably dial it in from home or something. But it went well for me last week. I got lucky. I brought in Wardenberg instead of Cheatham. Those who brought in Zolan Cheatham, he went down injured, and that hurt everyone.
Me.
Paddy Miller as well, copped an injury. Everyone's waiting on his health to see what happens this week. But I talk about getting sourced. Big Alan Williams, he's absolutely tearing up the league, but also SuperCoach. The big question is,
hard work.
spend up big and bring in Alan Williams this week. He's a double-double machine. If he gets some more minutes, he might even go 30 and 15, and that means big SuperCoach scoring. Is he coming in as your captain this week, Hammer?
And the other question is, what do you give up? Because you've got to pay a lot of money. So to be able to afford it, you're giving up some other pieces potentially as well. So what other tips would you have?
Well, it's a tricky, the fixture, there's a lot of teams on doubles, so it's like, are you going to pay up big for South? Or the Perth Wildcats interesting because they've got that double, they've got doubles, everyone's on a single, then they've got a double. So are we looking at Bryce Cotton? Maybe he's the lowest price you'll get him for this year. He's been struggling, so the fact that his price has dropped, could this be the time to bring in Bryce for a bounce back?
Do you take into account the fact, though, they're playing against Adelaide, but then they've got Melbourne United. I think he had 11 last time they played against United. They locked him down.
That's good call, Joe.
And he's been struggling, but at some point, is it this week? At some point, surely we see a bounce back Bryce Cotton game. So Bryce, Keanu Pinder, even Christian Doolittle's very cheap now if you want to bring in a Wildcat player. But Hammer, Joe, do you know who the must-have is? If he's not in your side yet, get Josh Bannon. The guy is going bananas, intentional pun there. The guy's tearing up. And I don't think Aaron Baines coming back is actually going to change the fact of how much he impacts the game. He's a double-double threat every game.
I love the fact that you just explained the pun to us. That was good.
Yeah.
Thanks for
It
breaking
wasn't
that
very
down.
good. The ones that aren't great, I need to sort of double down on it.
Okay.
I love that you're going head-to-head with Derek Rucker this week.
I've got D covered, mate. I've made some big trades this week. I'm ready to go. I had Cheatham last week. I was sucking my thumb in the corner of the couch, the room, when he went down, knowing that he had another game, and he was on fire in that game too. Pat myself on the back, so I wasn't happy. But this week, I'm ready to go.
I love that he says sucking the thumb. You and I both know Hammer's doing a lot more than sucking the thumb. He's throwing the toys, something at the TV, shoes are getting thrown at the wall. But I'm sorry to hear that. But I also didn't have him, so that goes all right. Anyway,
I've got Hershey this week, so I need all the tips that I can get.
He's on fire too.
get on the sauce.
Awesome. Well, that is all we've got time for this week. It's all thanks to CODE Sports, Boost Mobile and the Throwback Store. Hammer, it's been fun. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, great to have you. WNBL tonight, NBL, and I'm watching NBA every day.
Yep, looking forward to it. Should be a good week. We'll see you guys when we come back.